What is going on? What is going on? Thank y'all so much for tuning into another episode of Beyond the Hustle. I'm your host, your MC, Daniel Tadamy, and joined with me is always serial entrepreneur himself, Mr. Paul Renee Jr. What is going on? This is episode 29.
Maestro, what's going on? It's
Yes, sir. Yes,
another episode that we're having under our belt.
Yeah.
I'm Paul Renee Jr. here with Maestro Daniel Tadamy on Beyond the Hustle. America, it's good seeing you guys again. It's been a long week and a lot has happened this week, Daniel.
A lot's been going on with you?
What's going on? What'd you
Dude,
say?
Man, I said this is episode 29, man. A lot been going on with you. We almost at 30, man. We almost at 30.
Oh,
How
yeah.
you feeling about that, man? How you feeling?
Oh man, I'm loving it. I'm loving the dedication. I'm loving the discipline that it takes to keep this going. They're watching us, man. We're out there. They're watching. They're seeing what we're doing, and we're getting good responses. I appreciate you, America, for tuning in and keeping us dedicated to getting our message, our view across on business and current events. So it's always a pleasure getting on here and having this conversation, letting people know what's on our mind and what's going on in accordance to what's out there in the public and how to operate a successful business. That's what I love to do, man. That's what I've been spending my time after this tax season is I'm still on that hustle and helping people business stay in line with their goals, man. I know you're staying busy too, right? With Tadamy Productions and helping people get their visions out there, right?
Yeah. People have been noticing. They've been seeing, the way we've been operating Beyond the Hustle. It's funny, bro. We both in white shirts. You know what? I picked this shirt out this morning. I said, "This is the shirt I'm gonna wear on Beyond the Hustle." I said, "This is the shirt I'm gonna wear." I laid it out. You know what I'm saying? Tuesdays, I do it early, so just in case I'm running behind, like I was tonight. And it's funny. I seen you in the white shirt. I said, "Oh, we both gonna be in white tonight."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a cleansing of what's going on in the podcast platform. That's what we're here for, to cleanse people out, right? That's so only the real can maintain. That's what's up.
People have been noticing, man. I've been getting reached out to. People have been noticing what we've been doing here, and they want to get their own podcast up and running. They see how we do things, so it's dope, man. And helping people get their podcasts going off the ground, helping them run it, maintain it. So if you guys want to start something like this, you want to get your podcast going, hit me up, let me know, and we can definitely get y'all going.
Of course, that's all you, Daniel. I don't blame you guys. I wouldn't have been doing podcasts if it wasn't Daniel pulling the strings. That's the maestro, man. So you're not going to go wrong getting him to help you out with your vision, with your podcast. So and he's easy to reach, man. Hit him up.
Hey, man, there you go. I wanted to talk about something that's near and dear to me on a personal note, based off of different situations that I've encountered. Right?
Were you invited to the Diddy party? Was that what's going on?
No,
you got the invitation?
Not yet, bro. Bro.
Okay.
I'm waiting on it, and I'm gonna leave when the sun goes down. I'm leaving.
Okay. Just remember, you got to tell Diddy no. Okay, just remember that.
you got to tell him no. Nah, man. I wanted to talk about ethics when it comes to business. I don't know if it would be considered ethics or etiquette, business etiquette, and you let me know which one it falls in lines towards. And nope, I'm not. I'll bring up situations that I've been through, and it's not a knock on a specific person or a group of individuals. It's not a knock, because I believe that no matter in business, no matter what you encounter from a customer's perspective, you as the operator, or even just a spokesperson, the face or an employee of a company, you ought to
Yeah.
carry yourself a certain type of way, right? The customer shouldn't get you out of your character, shouldn't get you out of your zone. You should always maintain
Right.
it, no matter how difficult it is. And they do get difficult. I'm sure they do
Oh
get
yeah.
difficult, but they shouldn't move you, right?
Right.
But I've encountered some situations where, based off of the way I maintain and run my business, when I encounter this business or particular businesses, I'm like, man, you say one thing and then you move the goalpost as the business is being conducted, right? So you're in business with someone, or you're engaging, a customer or a client. Now, as deliverables start coming and you guys are in it now, the goalpost moves. When the budget was once this and now the budget's that, and it's shrinking. The expectation grows, the dollars, shrink. I thought we agreed on something, So now the agreements are being adjusted in real time. You're expecting one thing and you're not getting it. You're getting something totally different,
Right.
So as a business owner, as someone that's moving, as an entrepreneur, how should you handle the adjusting expectations or the moving of the goalposts when you already agreed to something and now you're in it? So how would you navigate those situations?
Well, it's a good question. Um, you know what the client wants or the customer wants, and you lay down what your fee is going to be for what they're looking for. And as you doing that job for them, if they want to add more, then you just tell them, okay, yeah, I can do that. I really don't like pushing away business or not getting something done for my customer. I'm really the type of guy that loves to help, loves to find a solution. Okay. And I will
Right.
go out my way to find a solution for them.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the time, that's going to require additional time, extra work that I'm going to need to do that we did not agree on. So I'm open to it. I will do that for you, but it's going to have to be at an additional fee.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I have to add that additional fee that correlates with the amount of time that I'm going to be putting in, plus skill, plus value, whatever is reasonable,
Yeah.
depending on what they're asking for. In your situation, they might say, hey, I just need, a 30-second ad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something simple. No, we don't need any wordings. And they agree to that. And that's what you're giving them, and you're putting all your time and effort into it. They're like, hold on, but let's add some logos, let's add some wording, let's add some editing to it, and plus I want my cousin to be on this too. Right? And so it's like, all right, wait, hold on, slow down.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna start adding um additional fees as you're adding more layers to this task. So yeah, you just need to know what how much time, or not even, it doesn't even have to be time, but basically
Mm-hmm.
uh, the knowledge that and experience that it took you to be able to get something done within a reasonable time.
Mm-hmm.
That also should be included in your fee, right? Because it might take them a week to get that done, and it might take you a day, 2 hours or so. But um, you know the knowledge that you acquired and the expertise, experience that you acquired throughout the years to be able to get that done within a short amount of time should be included in your price, because that's what
Right.
they're looking for, man. They want to see those results, and you're going to
Yeah.
give them that results
Yeah.
fast. So yeah, you're going to have to pay for it.
I
So that the solution would be to add additional fees.
I think that's huge, you know, hearing you say that, because I think a lot of people don't take into account when you're in a service industry. When you're in the service industry, a lot of people don't take into account what allows you to deliver that service in the time that you do. A lot of times people don't consider that. You know, when it comes to anything, I'm not just talking about, you know, video production or what I do. Anything service based. I have one of my brothers, he has a mobile mechanic business.
Right.
And he's able to provide a service, you know, mobile. So I talk to him and I'm like, hey, yeah, you may be cheap. You'll be cheaper than a shop for certain things. And for other things, you know, you may be like a little bit under, you know, the shop price. And people are like, oh, well, the shop is charging me this and you're charging me that. Well, I'm mobile. You don't have to get in your car. You don't have to drive anywhere. You don't have to wait, you know, at a shop. You know, you have the convenience of sitting at home. You know what I'm saying? So I said, mention that. Remind them of the convenience of having a mobile mechanic, you know? And certain things don't take you as long, you know, well, because you went to school for it. And so you're a master mechanic. You're not even just, you know, a mechanic that just learned off of the strength. What's up, babe? Oksana just joined. Dropping by, catching some gems. Yep. Thanks for watching. But
what's up, Oksana?
I said, you know, your price even goes a little bit deeper because this is not something that someone showed you, someone taught you. No, you're a master mechanic, so you can go into it with that level, you know, of expertise. You know, so things that may take someone this long, or a lot of these shortcuts that these guys were trying to do, you don't do that. You know, so you got to take that into consideration. And I think people have to understand that at the same time when they're stating their value or their costs. And I'm glad you said that, because when you are developing these prices, these costs, yeah, you have a quick turnaround. You have to look at what it took for you to have that type of turnaround, right? The things that you've learned,
of course,
and that's something that I definitely apply, bro. I really do.
Yeah, a mechanic is a perfect example too, right? Because if my spark plug went out in my car, you know, I could fix it. I've changed spark plugs out of my car. It might take me a week though. Change the spark plug out of my car. And in the meantime, I'm driving my other car while this car is, you know, the hood's open for a couple of days. I've got other things to be doing, and now I got the wrench in there and trying to, you know, take the spark plug out. But you know, the mobile mechanic, he's going to come in there and fix it in an hour or two, right? Not even, probably not faster than that, because he knows what's going on. And I would charge an additional, you know, transportation fee for coming, you know, depending on how far they are, mileage, you know, all of that included. So it reflects the effort and the convenience of me coming out there. You're going to get it depending on where you're at. You're going to get an additional fee. You know, if I'm going longer, farther away, just for me coming out, you know, transportation fee plus mileage, you know, and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, after, so, you know, I do it to where, okay, at 20 miles, you know, here's the fee. And then every additional mile is, you know, a couple of dollars. Right. So, and then on top of that, you know, if I'm the master mechanic, to get the job done, I'm going to, you know, add a certain fee on top of that. But that's why I take my cars to the dealerships, man, because it's going to take me a month to get that fixed, you know, and if I try to do it myself, I can YouTube it, get it done, but I can go to someone who's an expert in their field and they're going to get it done right. They're going to get it done proper, right? And they're going to get it done faster than I can. And guess what, Daniel? If they don't get it done right, I got someone I can, you know, say, "Hey, man, what you doing, man? You put this spark plug in backwards. What's going on? I need a refund. Plus, I need a, you know, warranty on this. We need to get, and the next time I come to you, better be free, you know, stuff like that." So the customer's always happy. I'll come out with something, you know. They're gonna do you right anyway. I love dealing with people who are experts in their field. So
yeah, I think that's where I'm at now. Like I was looking for I'm getting sidetracked really quick, but I was looking for a new I think I told you this story before, but I was looking for a new barber because I didn't like where I was getting my hair cut at before. This was a couple years back, and
Yeah.
I was talking to people, and I'm like, listen, I don't want to just go to um I don't want to just go. Appreciate it, babe. If you just tuned in, make sure you like and follow Beyond the Hustle. That's the moderator. The babe's the Oksana's the moderator tonight.
Okay.
But
Yeah, kick anybody out of the chat if they're not acting right, Oksana.
kick him out.
We demand a level of respect over here. So chat room behave.
Dude. Oh, speaking of that, bro, we may have to read some of these comments that we be getting, bro.
Oh, buddy. Yeah.
Bro, our TikTok comment section is savage, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. They be going in. Good stuff. Sometimes they be coming for us, but a lot be good. But
Yeah.
nah. But I was gonna say, what's up, Norman? I was gonna say, I was looking for a barber shop, and I was like, man, I was talking to some of my friends. I was like, listen, I don't want to just go to another barber, right? I want to go to someone that's like an artist in their craft. Like they take barbering seriously because I'm trying to.
Right.
I want a different type of cut. And I ended up finding this barber. He went into competitions. He entered competitions. He had trophies by his thing. He had medals and stuff. Like he was in magazines. And he's like, yeah, bro, I'm not just a barber. I'm an artist. This is what I do. Like I take my craft seriously. And I think that having that level of expectation for yourself and passion for yourself to say, hey, listen, even when it comes to cooking, you got some people that they're just cooks, right? And then you got some people that's like chefs, master chefs. You got people that take this so seriously. They obsess over it. And I guess that's how you get, a Kobe Bryant, but like when you obsess over this. But
Right.
yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. So like when you're talking about that master mechanic, I think when I hear that, I take it to you take this like super serious. You know what I'm saying? There's a different level of there's a different standard that you operate in, and I think that's the whole point behind it. Hey, Paul, Jannard coming for you. He said he made you take that Jordan symbol down from off your TV.
Oh man, Jannard, what's going on, bruv? Good talking to you. No. The Jordan symbol is on there. We're gonna have that conversation though. We're gonna go at it. We both know that Jordan is better than LeBron. You can't take away from LeBron. All right, two great people. But when it comes down to it, Jordan was playing in a different era. And who we always forget to leave out of the conversation is that Black Mamba the Great, Kobe Bryant. All right, he is one of the greatest after Jordan, and he's one of the only ones that majority of the NBA players themselves would compare to Michael Jordan or have that number 2 position. But I'm glad I get to voice my argument without any rebuttal with you on tonight. But we'll have to do it another time.
You get to say it without having to hear him. Nah.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you this. Just going to the business ethics, right, or etiquette. I think that's the better word for it. Etiquette. Is there ever a point in time, or do you believe that there's ever a point in time? And Jannard, I want to comment what you think about this question. Do you think that there's ever a point in time where in the transaction process or in the doing business process that a client pushes you to a point where you say, you know what, I'm going to give you these deliverables and we're going to stop it right here because this is moving past, or, even if you don't communicate to them, even if you communicated to them or not, right? But this is taking me past my ability, or it's impeding my ability to perform right now at the quality I know I can. So I don't want to jeopardize the quality of my work. We just going to end it right here. Do you think that there's a place that you get within that process to where you would say that?
Yeah. I've never had to experience it. Fortunately, all of the customers that I have, I like calling them like friends, right? And they're respectful to me. I've never had customer that was disrespectful. Um, I can tell you in the real estate game, there are a lot of customers that I've dealt with that have high expectations, that doesn't equate their budget, right? And so it
Mm.
gets kind of frustrating. But I have to show them, right? I'll have
Mm.
to show them, like, look, this is what you're asking for. Okay, that's fine. Let me help you get it, but you're gonna need X amount of dollars for
Yeah.
this, right? But and this is not what we're working with right now. So let's work with what your budget
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
handle, right? So I would let them know that now. But if it comes to a point where there's disrespect to where I feel like I need to cut myself loose from this customer, I've never had that experience. I
Mm.
get to the point where I put myself in my customer's shoes and try to find out why they're acting
Mhm.
irrational, and then I try to solve that solution for them.
Mm. Yeah.
Because I'm in the business of trying to help solve people's problems, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do whatever it takes to be able to solve their problems. Now, if they're gonna be asking me, to help them with a lawsuit that they're facing from a personal injury because somebody crashed into the back of their car,
Mm.
and I'm like, but I'm just doing your taxes. I really don't have that type of, capability to help you that way. I'm gonna refer them to someone else,
Yeah.
right? But if it's within my scope of expertise, I'm gonna find a way to help them out. But it's never gotten to the point that I you know cut a customer off based off of disrespect or anything. I try to look for an answer and a solution for them.
Yeah.
There are times though where the customer limits themselves for what I'm capable of doing for
Mhm.
them because it's not within their budget. And
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, if it falls within their budget, if they could pay me for it, I'm gonna find a way to get it done for them. I
You
just love
got
it.
it.
I love the satisfaction and fulfillment. That's what gets me up in the day. Is uh, I'm gonna be serving someone. I'm gonna be put to service. My skill set is gonna be put to use. I'm gonna be able to help someone solve a problem. That's what gets me going, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a monetary factor attached to it as well, which keeps it going too, right? It's gonna keep me going,
Keeps
and
it interesting.
that's gonna keep me motivated to continue helping. But at the end of the day, if there wasn't any monetary system that we were living in, in this world, I would still be
Yeah.
giving my energy out and finding ways to help people because it's self fulfilling. Um,
Yeah. I I feel that way too. Oksana said fire the client. Yeah, you got to fire a client. Um, I now I haven't been in a situation like that personally. I was just curious to see. Now I've dealt with companies and gotten to a space like that. Where you quit or leave a
yeah,
company, or where you I was offering production services to a company, and I had to sever that because the goalposts kept getting moved,
right. They
and
want
and
more
it
out of
was
you.
they want more out of you and they don't want to give you more. And like I said, like I wasn't willing to sacrifice my quality. I was speaking to a client the other day, and I let them know I have a standard. We have a quality standard. We have a professionalism. Professional standard, and that's that. So we have that, and that's what we want to operate in. You know, um,
Yeah,
so based off of that, we're going to move in that vein. So and I let them know that because people that understand the importance of that personal standard, people that understand that, you know, you let them know that, or you show them that, and you also let them know that, and it kind of gives them that reassurance too that okay, yeah, you're hiring professionals, you're hiring knowledgeable professionals, and they can put trust in you. A lot of times when clients are like that, they ask those extra questions, and I think you shared this with me before too. When clients kind of like tiptoe within to your service, it's just because that trust
hmm
has to get built, and you
correct.
have to just reaffirm, you have to just reassure them, and trusting you with whatever it is that, their vision. In my case, trusting me with your idea, your vision. In your case, they have to trust you with their finances and a lot of
Yeah.
personal information,
Yeah.
So they have to know that they're getting something out of that. And it's, if you are dealing with that type of client, reassure them in who you are and what you provide and what your company provides, and that'll kind of help guide them through that process too. Even within the transaction processes going on, if you have deliverables and time, limits that you got to hit along the way. I've dealt with that with clients before too, and I got to let them know, hey, listen, boom, this is what we're doing. And a lot of times when they are acting, kind of iffy with you, I give them more information. I let them know, hey, this is what I have. Boom, this is what we're trying to get you to. Oh, if you want that, this is what it's gonna, even if they don't understand it. And I've dealt with you on a client base where, you do my taxes. So make sure y'all hit them up. And I said, and one thing when I tell people about you, I tell them this all the time. Whatever you want to know when it comes to taxes or your finances, Paul handles you like, he'll take you like a student. So you'll give them that information. And I'm like, dang, Paul, I don't want to have you like this. You're like, no, dang, ask your questions, man.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're patient with
that. I love
being
in that. I love being in that position because taxes is a sensitive issue. And if someone isn't an expert or understanding the tax laws, they're coming to you for guidance, right? And so I want them to understand how the process works, how the tax laws work, even if though they don't know what forms to put it on or where to put it. You need to understand what's going on here, right? I'm guiding you through this process, okay, so that you can make the best decision for you. Now, when you're talking about in the creative sphere, it's a totally different monster too, though, than dealing in the financial world. Like I come to you for commercials, for my commercials and ads, right? So, and that's one of the things that I love about business is there's nothing better than making money with your friends, right? At our age, that's how it should be. We're not hanging out on a corner or sitting down just chopping it up. We all have families. We all have mouths to feed. You have a friend that's an expert in an area that you are looking for help in. Go to your friends, make money with your friends, share the have that that homegrown economy base that you create to where the money is being moved within your community, right? A friendship. Like other than that, why, if you know a friend has a service, why are you not supporting that? Why are you not utilizing that, right? And especially if they're good at it. So yeah, so it goes both ways. We're using each other's services, and why wouldn't that be something that you do amongst friends, right? Instead of, not seeing the money being passed between hands. I don't know how people go about things, but I always love supporting, and I make new friends that way too, by utilizing their services and their expertise. And I support their brands. I support their quality of work, their dedication, their discipline to it. It also rubs off on me and helps me become a better person too, because now I am associating myself with people who want to come out with quality to work and give the best in what they're doing, right? And so we creating that relationship. So it makes me a better person working with people like you and people who take their work seriously. And what I do is what a lot of people should do, is leave it to the expert, right? So when I come to you for advice on commercials and ads, I might have my input, but at the end of the day, you're the expert behind it. You know what kind of cameras, what kind of looks, what kind of lighting needs to be done. I'm just like, oh, okay. And then at the end of the day, you see the results and you're like, yo, this is it. I'm glad we put this together. Let's do it again. Let's do another one, right? Because it's fun at the end of the day. And we're not doing it just to waste each other's time, right? We're doing it because we're actually supporting our friends' vision, our friends' expertise, and putting money on the table too. That what better way of showing appreciation to your friends by paying them for a good job, for good work, right? Like, So a lot of people don't have that mindset. A lot of people just want to use their friends and not give back, or we're friends. You should be doing it for free, Daniel. Why not? You should be. No, it doesn't work that. It does not work like
No,
that. It doesn't
no.
work like that, right? You're taking out your time
Mhm.
that you could be spending with your family just to get things done and create a excellent product for me, right? So you should be paid for it, and a lot of people don't see it that way. They want free handouts, you know, free handouts.
Mhm.
Nah, you should be ready when you're coming and asking for help. That, you know, especially when you're coming to someone who might have been referred to you, right? In my situation, majority of my business is through referrals, and it's through referrals through family and friends that are trusted. So when they say, yeah, go to Paul, right? You're trusting that Paul's going to be
Mhm.
doing a good job, because, you know, your friend wouldn't be putting you in a bad position or bad situation to be dealing with someone who's going to screw you over. So, um, I've been blessed,
Nice.
man. It's a blessing to create that type of relationship with people
Yeah.
who understand your value and are willing to pay you for it. And luckily for me, I've been doing the tax business for over almost 15 years, and I've been
Dang.
dealing with day ones, man. Day ones. You know how crazy it
Dang.
is to see someone 50, whose life is growing, right? You know their children's name. You're seeing them growing, and now they're graduating from school, graduating from college. It's a blessing, man. It really is, to
Yeah.
be able to be a part of people's you know, goals and dreams, man. And that can be in any type of capacity, right?
Mhm.
As long as you're keeping that relationship in real estate the same way, where I'm helping investors for years since I've started. You know, the first year I started, I'm dealing with people who's been my day ones. Every time they need to increase, to add to their, every time they need to add to their portfolio, you know, they know who to call, because they know through the history that I'm gonna do what's right for them, buy them, and get the job done.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, the results will be there. So
That's dope.
yeah,
I
it
like
it definitely is.
I like I like I like you as a type of client too, because you're like, hey, that's your lane, have at it. And I deal with people
Yeah.
like that too, man. I have people that I work with that have done work with me on different projects, um, who they know a lot. You know, hey, listen, I bought you one to do this. Hey, do it, and it makes, I don't need to micromanage everything, bro.
Right.
I don't want to. You know, if 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 I'm paying you for a service, or if I bring you on alongside a project with me, I'm bringing you on and I'm paying you to do what you do, to handle that. So I don't have to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. You know, when 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 I send off my stuff to you for my taxes, but hey, listen, as long as you don't hit me up looking for more information, or you reach out to me when it's time to decide, bro, I'm straight, bro. It's just like,
Yeah.
hey, you want to be able to trust, and for some people, and I understand for some clients, it takes a little bit more of a step to get them to that trusting process. So I understand that. And I think that when you go into it with that and you're providing a service, you know, or a product to a person, you have to go in that with that expectation that, hey, listen, the trust is going to have to be earned. You know, the only way it comes straight naturally, if you're dealing with a friend or a family, and even still when it comes to shifting the relationship into, now we're going into a business relationship or a partnership, that trust
Yeah.
within that still has to be earned as well. So you don't just go into, I was talking to my younger brother, was playing the game, we're playing 2K, and
Yeah.
we're playing 2K and we're playing with just like, you know, randoms. And, you know, they ain't a part of the squad. And it's like, hey, listen, you may be good at this game. I don't know you good at this game. So you're gonna
Right.
have to show me on that court.
Right.
But if you want me to pass you this ball, you're gonna have to earn, you know, and I think a lot of times people don't want to have to do the work that it takes in business to earn that trust in those relationships to get to those larger dollar clients. And it's not easy, man. It's not easy.
Oh, Daniel, I deal with development groups that I've been associated with for almost 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, how are you able to be attached to high value men moving in a corporate world for that long, right? It's only because you got a track record that shows, and this is a world, man. The corporate world is a different monster. It's a high was a turnover rate, right? People come and people go. Oh my goodness. You might be a director of the business one year and then you're gone, the next year, right? And it's because it's a business of in the corporate world, depending on what sector you is, it's a business of uncertainty, high risks, right? It's a lot of high risks, and sometimes things don't go out the way it's supposed to, or we planned, right? Because there's unforeseen variables that happen when you're dealing with multiple people. There's so many things that can happen. All right. But how are you going to respond to it now? How are you going to act? Are you going to be childish, throw a hissy fits, become unloyal to the people that you were trying to, come up with? Or are you gonna, take that L and say, guys, what we're gonna do to try to get that W, right? Just like sales, it's a numbers thing. Sometimes this project that we were looking to become successful in just didn't work out, right? So now you're gonna just give up? No. I like the vibration. I like the energy. I like the thought process, the brainstorming behind it, the journey behind it. We'll take that L. Let's go again. Let's go for it again. Let's go for another one, right? I'm the type of guy that you want on your team because I'm not just gonna give up, right? There's no way we're gonna give up. We got this goal that we're trying to accomplish. We might have lost the battle, but there's a war to be won here. But there's a lot of people that once the battle's lost, they're tucking their tails and running, right? So they don't get to see the glory at the end. They don't get to see the victory when the war is won. And so that's something that you gotta look at. And I always try to foresee my future self and where my future self wants to be, how my future self wants to live, who my future self wants around him. And there's only a few people. I'm not saying too few, but there's only a certain group of people that I can see my future self with. Yeah, because we done got battle scars. Right. We've been through the trenches. There's history behind us. There's disagreements. There's, the way we see how you respond to the disagreements, the maturity level of it. Corporate business is business itself, it's a totally different monster now, right? But you get to see who your friends are. You get to see who really has your back when shit hits the fan. And that's just like relationships too, right? You want that woman who's gonna be there for you when shit hits the fan. You're gonna see how she responds. Is she gonna blow everything up? Is everything gonna be on social media? Right? Is it, are we gonna be acting a fool? Is your spouse gonna be throwing jabs at me, because you didn't like this or that? It's all of that comes into part. And I've been blessed to be in a position to, which is most important for me, is to observe. I've been in a position to observe and create, and be able to analyze people and how they conduct themselves in business atmospheres, and come to my conclusion based off of my experience and observation on how things are going to end out, and makes me determine whether or not I want to deal with this person or not in the future.
Nah, you're right. Oksana said mindset matters. It does. It's huge.
Yes, it does.
Mindset
it is. That's huge. What it totally is. It is something that if you want to be in this business world, you have to have that mindset, right? You have to have that tough mindset. You have to have the mindset of dealing with stress. And when things don't go out the way it's supposed to go with project didn't work, the deal didn't work, how are you going to handle that stress, right? Because the level of success that you're going to be able to attain in life as an entrepreneur, right? Working for someone is different, but as an entrepreneur running businesses, doing partnerships, joint ventures, or whatever, the level of success you're going to attain is correlated to the amount of stress you can handle. Okay.
All of
So,
that. Point, period.
yeah.
Y'all,
Oh yeah. I'm
period.
burning. I'm putting out fires left and right, Daniel, and I'm serious. It happens. There's some days where you wake up, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, but then the phone rings and it just kills everything, the vibe. You got to put out this fire. This contract doesn't look like it's going to go through. Closing date's not going to work. This person needs some help that they don't understand, and everything. And it's just all putting out fire. I could just curl up into a fetal position and just be like, oh no, go away. Right. Yeah. But no, I got these goals for my future self that I need to accomplish. And, I can imagine though, the players that are on the higher level to me. And of course, in any business, there's hierarchies, right? Yeah. There's levels that I want to attain.
Levels to this.
There's people that I see that I respect, man, that dude, they go in even harder than me. The level of stress that they deal with. Oh my goodness. I don't know how they do it. And I don't even want it. I don't even want it, to be real.
Oksana said that's where character building comes in. That's where building character comes in. And all of it points to that. In everything that I've learned when it comes to this business space, right? Everything that I've learned and what I've noticed as the constant theme is that these people, they don't quit. They didn't quit, and it all started from somewhere. I keep equating it back to working out, right? Or the health lifestyle, because I think that's the most simplest example I can use, right? When you start working out, you start doing this based off of, where you started at. It takes a while before you see that first bit of progress. You may feel it. A lot of times you'll feel the progress. You're like, oh man, I feel better. I feel stronger. And then you look in the mirror and you don't see anything. You don't see anything. And then time goes by, weeks, a month or two goes by, and then you start seeing the result. Because I think you feel it and you sense it, right? And the result is there before it actually manifests. And depending on what you're building or what you're going for, that time period may stretch out some. So depending on whatever vision, whatever you're building, whatever type of company, industry that you're in, that result period, it fluctuates depending on what you're doing and where you want to go. And that's what keeps me motivated, because everyone that I've watched their story, I've listened to them, I've seen, where they came from, I've read their book. The constant theme is that consistency, that consistency, that work, and that continuing to show up. And that's what motivates me, because I'm like, bro, no matter what comes, no matter what happens, you just got to keep showing up to whatever it is. Definitely. And then you got to apply what you're learning as you go. And then all of them, like what you just said earlier, bro, they go to the professionals. They go to the people that know. They go to the knowledge professionals, and they trust in that. The people that want to try to micromanage and hold everything in, you will grow. You'll see some growth, yet a lot of times it's tough to maintain that. And then there's nothing to pass down, because once you go, everything falls.
Right.
Everything falls without you, and that shouldn't be the case. And I never wanted to build that. You want to get into some reactions right now? I know that's a quick.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Let's do it.
You sent some stuff out. I didn't watch them, bro. I didn't watch them because I'm like, bro, I've been trying to get you shot. Yeah.
I get you on some reactions and stuff.
I tried to get you on some stuff, bro. This one here, I'm not sure which one this one is.
Robert Kennedy Jr. just.
Oh, this one here. This one familiar to you?
Oh yeah, I remember.
I haven't seen this one. I think I thought Jannar said something. I wanted to read his comment before I continue, but Yeah, man, let's get into this. Let's see what this is talking about. I don't know, so let me see.
Robert Kennedy Jr. just fired the entire advisory committee on immunization practices, the heart of corporate corruption. You think I'm overstating how corrupt this group has been throughout the decades? Let me play for you the video.
Is there any comment on using this vaccine at the same time with other adjuvanted vaccines?
So what is that? Before we keep going, what is that?
What is
that
what?
Committee? The AICP committee or the...
They're supposed to be the board that determines what kind of vaccines are supposed to be acceptable, given to, kids, babies, all that stuff. And he fired them all because, Robert Kennedy, he was on a hunt. His whole motto was, the big pharma is killing people, right? And vaccines are horrible. He's probably had when he was born, he probably had 2-3 vaccines, and now we have hundreds of vaccines being dumped into our kids, right? I might be exaggerating with the hundreds, of course, but there's a lot more.
Yeah,
a lot more. When you had your kids that they made sure that this vaccine was put in and that vaccine. Same thing with me. In order for them to get into school, they got to get all these vaccines. Yeah. If they want to play sports, they got to make sure the vaccine shots are up to date and everything. So, and this is all because these people who are on the advisory boards made it mandatory for that to occur. And so now they're fired. He took a line out of, Robert F. Kennedy took a line out of Donald Trump's playbook and, got them all in the room. It was like, you're fired. And then fired all of them. Yeah, for real. And I think that's a good, I like Robert F. Kennedy because he's actually doing something. A lot of people are looking at it like, oh, this isn't going to change anything. The world's still going to be okay. But, baby steps. Right, at least it's being put to light that this isn't good. We are seeing issues in here. Yeah, people don't get fired because they do good jobs, right? This is something that's wrong, and it's statistically you could tell because he's basing this off of studies of the increase of autism that's occurring in his youth in the country. It used to be 1 out of 3,000 people, would be considered autistic. Now it's 1 out of 30. That's a huge jump. Yeah, man. Wow. And correct me if I'm wrong, you guys. I know you guys are gonna come at me if the numbers are wrong, but it's around those numbers, right?
It's a huge jump.
It's outrageous, brother.
This is I'm gonna go back to it now. Let's see what's up.
We have no data to make a recommendation one way or the other.
While preclinical studies were not done using these vaccines simultaneously, our general approach to immunizations is that they can be given at the same time in different limbs.
Are multiple adjuvanted vaccines used in Europe or other markets?
Not to my knowledge.
Thank you very much. The voting is completed, and it is unanimous to support this recommendation.
You have this great new hepatitis B vaccine. They ask some really good questions, like the first one, which is this adjuvant, which is really the toxic part of the vaccines, it's going to be given potentially at the same time as other vaccines with different adjuvants. Well, the head there says, well, even though we never looked into that, we've decided as long as you inject it into different limbs, it should be fine.
Back off, man.
It must be safe.
Is anyone in Europe mixing multiple adjuvanted vaccines in one human at any time? Not to my knowledge. We're the only ones crazy enough to do that without any science at all.
We have no data.
We will take a vote.
100% unanimous. Let's do this. Why even ask the questions?
Right.
Except that it gets worse.
So just a slight reservation. I am concerned about that signal, that myocardial infarction signal, and certainly urge us to continue to look at the post-marketing data carefully.
There's a problem with heart attacks?
A slight reservation.
That you're only bringing up now that 100% of you voted for it? The risk of acute myocardial infarction in the trial was thought to be 7 times greater with the new vaccine. This thing got rubber stamped by the FDA knowing that this vaccine causes 7 times the amount of heart attacks, that it was never ever tested whether it can be given at the same time as other vaccines, and still 100% unanimous vote. When the Dynavax ended up posting this on its website, it celebrated unanimously recommended by the CDC's ACIP. They leave every doctor completely blind across the country. When their patient ends up having a heart attack, they go, well, it couldn't possibly be the vaccine because all the scientists that I trust were perfectly 100% sure it was safe. This is how much they care about you.
Everybody is on this.
And then blindfold every doctor.
You get the gist, right? So everybody talks about, where are you getting your information? Trust the scientists. Trust the scientists. Yeah. Dude, scientists are people too, man. They get paid.
Scientists are people
They get paid to make these studies. They get paid to give these reviews. They
didn't even study anything.
No, they didn't. They didn't. But they just, this is good. This is recommended. They didn't even study how everything. That's just, so I was lucky I was lucky to work in the research facility out in UCF when I was going to school there. I was part of the, under Peter Anderson. It was research and technology and how it interacts with human. So we would do studies that would have to be put into peer review journals so that people can, critique the studies that we came up with. But ultimately, it was the head of that research facility that can determine, whether or not you should sway this way or sway that way, because it's all based off of funding, right? Who's funding the research? The school isn't just giving the money out like, you guys go ahead and play with these, computer chips. No, there's actually people, private organizations, there's, companies that are funding this research so that they can have an argument on why this works or why it, doesn't work or this shouldn't work. So as long as the money is coming in, right, you're gonna be swayed to, if you're an unethical person, of course, right? But what people don't understand is just because you're a scientist, just because you're a doctor, just because you're a lawyer, dude, I have to deal with lawyers all the time. I can't. That's one of the type of professions that I'm always hesitant with dealing with, because there's so many lawyers out there, but there's only a few good lawyers, and people tend to just take their word for it because they're lawyers, right?
They're lawyers.
When I spend a majority of my time having to correct lawyers. It's crazy. I'm not even a lawyer, but I know how to read. You get what I'm saying? I know how to read and understand information, and this does not make sense, sir. Can you write this out differently? Do this, right? And they'll take your money. A lot of people just take your money and run, and that's what a lot of these scientists do. They take their money and they run, and then they tell their kids, "We're not going to get vaccinated. We're not vaccinating our kids."
This is bad. That's bro. Yeah. And there was a thing that came out. I forget about it. Joe Rogan had a. Oh man, I forget the guy's name on his show. And he was talking about how when they were testing these certain things, they were spraying something in farmland or something like that. You talked about it, and they were saying that it was causing this disease, this infection, and they vaccine came out, this vaccine for it, and all they did was stop spraying the chemical in the food, and the cases dropped, went away, and they blamed the success on a vaccine. And it had nothing to do with the vaccine. It was the chemicals that were spraying on the food. Right. So there's a lot behind this vaccine, bro. My God. It's messy. It's slimy, bro. And I don't know everything about it. I don't understand it. So it's interesting seeing this. I didn't even know that what the ACIP was.
Yeah, it's just I've always cringed about it. I never had to take as many vaccines as these kids have to nowadays. And it's just were we really born into this world that is supposed to kill us immediately while we're born? For real? Are we not supposed to be here to where we need all this technology and medical advances pumped into us in order to survive? No, that's not the case.
No, I don't think so either.
It's just like sunblock. It's just like sunblock. I know that's probably off topic, but it's similar, right? I did research. Had to do a research paper on sunblock, and this was almost over 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago that I did this research paper. And this is through peer review and everything. It was noted that there are chemicals in sunblock, the average sunblock that you use, that promote skin cancer. So while it's advertising that it's gonna help, and again, hold on, this is for educational purposes. It's all educational purposes. It's not. Don't take this as we're professionals and stuff. Consult your doctors and physicians and financial advisors. But while they were, marketing that this is going to help you, with sunburn and all that, it was they really had carcinogens in the sunblock, and what it was the composition of the chemicals change once the sun hits it.
Yep.
Once it starts heating up, now it's becoming something toxic that's on your skin, and the skin is like the largest organ you have in your body, and everything you putting on your skin is being seeped through these organs, right? And so I know people who are older now, and they tell me, I've been putting sunblock on ever since I was a kid, and yet they got to take, cancer off of their skin all the time, and got to go get, treatment for all these skin. And I'm like, dude, man, don't you think it's the skin? I mean, the sunblock you putting on your skin that's causing it? No, it would be worse if it was without it. Like, come on now, the sun's here to help. This is what all the plants and animals and everything need in order to survive. You got to do it in moderation, of course, or you're going to get burned. Like even me, if I'm out in the sun for a long time without preparing my skin to, take the long period of time to the sun, I'm gonna get burnt too, right? Probably not at the rate of someone who has less melanin, but I know guys who are roofers who are white but can stay in the sun longer than I can because they've been doing it for years, dude, without any sunburn.
Your body produces certain chemicals when it's out there in the sun, and the chemicals that your body produces, that's what's good for you. That's what helps you. And they were saying that sunblock, the cancer cases in America are off the charts compared to the cancer cases in Africa and these other countries that aren't big on sunblock, yet they spend equal amount or more time in the sun than we do. In the cases, like zero to no, like low to zero cases of cancer in these countries, yet we have a high increase. And then the sunblock mixed with all the other chemicals that we're putting in our body. And that's the big thing that I like to tell people about, even when it goes to having a healthy lifestyle. If you want to eat McDonald's one time a week or like once every couple of weeks, that's fine. I think we talked about it on the show too. It's when you mix the McDonald's with the soda, with the candy, with the cakes, and all these other things, and then with the stuff that you're putting on your body, mixed to what you're eating, and mixed with little to no exercise. Correct. All of that compounded, like that's because you're just mixing the bad things. Oh, I only eat McDonald's once a week. Okay, yeah, fine. But what else are you doing? So.
That's more than a suggested serving, right? That they have on there, especially when you're adding all these different snacks and different meals that are coming up with the same type of chemicals in your body, and now you're mixing and matching and overdosing on it too. It's not the same as what they studied and put on the wrapper. Right. I get you on that.
Right. And then
that's another crusade that he's doing, is taking out a lot of the toxins in our food that's put on our shelves today. He's on a mission. So
he's on a mission.
Definitely this administration is doing a lot more than what I've seen from the last administration. And other administrations when it comes to just wanting better for our people, for Team America.
Dude,
right?
Be careful, dude. So you're a black guy saying that this administration is doing good stuff, man. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to say that as a black guy, bro.
I get it. Yeah.
Hey, man, Trump 2028, bro.
Yeah. Again? Yeah, go for it again.
Dude, check this out, bro. This is the one that I found.
judge men based off their woman. If a guy comes in and his woman is stunning and she looks beautiful and classy, all of a sudden I'm like, what does that guy do? Who is that guy? If a woman is showcasing some level of disrespect to her man, I have less respect for that man. That man gets talked about behind his back. That man gets invited to less places. That woman may even get more advances from people that he called his friends. Women have to protect their men. So much of it comes down to how she is when he's not around. A lot of times women think, hey, if I'm not right with my man, there's certain things that I can do because I want to do this with my girls or because this is how I feel. Women must consider at all times, is this the right thing to do if my man was around? And if it's not, then it's best not to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. He said it better than I can say anything about it. There's no, disagreement to that. It doesn't only stop at the woman. It's who you are around too, who are your friends. But the woman for a man is the closest friend, right? It's the closest person to you. So that's going to be a direct reflection. Now, so a lot of guys end up making a mistake and want to, catch that dime piece or the one who's like a perfect 10 and everything. She looks great, but that's not the prerequisite of being someone to be locked down. It's that respect, man. Does she really show society that she values you and respects you by acting accordingly, and keeping herself looking and maintaining like a lady, denying access to herself from other people. It's a whole list of green flags. Yeah, it's a lot that goes into it, but he's actually right about that.
Man, I was seeing something and they were saying that a lot of the higher you climb up on any corporate ladder, the more you see those guys are coupled up, they're married. You don't see a lot of single CEOs of companies or these high execs. You don't see a lot of them being single. And I think that marriage is a power move. It's a power play when it comes to power successful men. A lot of these guys, a lot of them are coupled up because it's a power play. Not only is it securing your legacy and being able to have things passed down so your family maintains that status, right? Not only is it that, it's a power move. And even within men respecting other men, it even plays into that as well. I think we lost him. But here he goes, calling back. But where you at? Can you hear me now, Paul?
Yeah.
Now?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. It just looked like it froze real quick. But yeah, you're right. It's a power move. Nah, and it's when you're on that level.
Yeah, it's a play. And I think that, a lot of the guys up there, a lot of high profile men, they do want to have something on their side. They want to have a looker on their side. So that would be a play, a flex for them as well. At the same time, not just that, it's the treatment, right? It's the treatment. And then you want to have someone that's going to help secure and maintain your legacy when it comes to having children and teaching them that respect. So it all goes into it. With what this guy was saying, that points to what he was explaining was a particular type of woman. It goes into what we were saying last week on the show, bro. Men got to be able to pick them. You got to know how to pick them. You got to know how to pick them because it is a flex. It is a play.
And it's very important because your spouse can make or break your business too. Yep. When you're speaking about entrepreneurship, they can make you think to go away from your purpose, right? They can draw you away from your purpose if you allow them to. Make you doubt yourself, right? They can make you doubt yourself. They can cause commotions. They can cause issues that you're not being able to focus on being the best you, right? And so this is why you see a lot of guys who are, in the corporate, or I say entrepreneurs who are very successful, they've been married a couple of times before they get it right. You get what I'm saying? They had it because they've experienced, that their purpose is number one, and that person that they thought was, supposed to help them get there didn't see that same vision. They weren't that partner to lift them up. They weren't investing in their goals and in their visions. They were trying to help them be the best them that they were trying to be. But majority of, I tell you what, Daniel, majority of successful people are put themselves in a position to where they have that spouse that is included in their business one way or another, right? Mm-hmm. They have vested interest in seeing their man become successful. So they are actually helping him achieve his goals and dreams, and not saying that he didn't have it there before he met them, or he wasn't, successful. But once they are, once they become a partner, once they become a part of that person's life, they tend to want to be a helpmate in whatever vision that he's doing, right? Which is awesome. I see that that's a very common trait that I see in successful people, is that their spouse is somehow included in their business. They have some type of task, some type of job to do. And that's just, I guess that's part of it, and I couldn't see myself being with someone that did not have a vested interest in what I was doing. So guys make that mistake. Bro. Yeah, guys make that mistake. They're like, oh, no, I don't want her to be a part of my business. I don't want her to know anything about it. And, it's just me. She could just, so exactly. You gotta, put her have her involved. It doesn't work for everyone, but. Right. That's that vested interest. And we're going to do one more. Before we get out of here. But this is the way you find it. I gotta check this out. But I was gonna say this before we get into it. I know people don't want to hear this, but it backs up to what Trump does. If you want to have trade deals with America, you got to behave and act a certain type of way. And when these countries agree to these trade deals, they now have a vested interest in the success of America. And that's how you can stabilize a couple things. I'm not going to say it's the end all be all, and we won't see another war, and we won't see another, but people got to calm down on all that. Us having these relationships and countries vested in the success of America, that's what staves off a lot of crap. People want to complain about what he did in the Middle East and wanting to have trade deals with these countries that we normally was at war with and all that. It's a play. Because if you have a vested interest in our country, that's going to deter you from doing a lot of crap, because you're making money, and you making money with people. And I don't care what people want to say about money. You making money with someone and the relationship is good and all of that. Hey, all of a sudden that becomes one of your best friends. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. That becomes one of your best people. They're showing they have a vested interest in you, and that's what your friends are supposed to be doing. They're supposed to, like I said earlier, right? They're supposed to show that if you know that your friend is expert in the field, show that you have a vested interest in your friendship by allowing him to provide you with that product or service that they have, especially when is a time where you need it. That's what a community is all about. Really. Yeah. Facts, bro. Look at this, bro. These are young girls in here too. Yes, it is.
Ladies, ready? Drop your pen. Walk to your pen if you're not near it, to the side of it. And when you're walking to the side of your pen, naturally walk. Don't do this. Because that's what you do in life, right? Okay. All right. Those of you who are wearing a skirt, short skirt, dress, hold the hem. 1, 2, 3, go down gracefully. What? That's for everyone. Stand again, stand. Feet straight forward. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, go down gracefully. That's for everyone. Walk to the side of your 1, 2, 3, go down gracefully. How beautiful. Good.
And the guys are in here watching this too. So what is this, Paul? What is this?
It's a ladies course. She's teaching them how to be ladies, right? It's something that, so where the term lady comes from, right? The term lady comes from, being able to observe that this lady is acting and this woman is acting in accordance as a lady, so that they get term, that term came up, right? So there's women that don't act like ladies, and there's women that do act like ladies, and a man could tell when they see one. And that's because a lady has been trained to be one. Majority of the time is from their mother, but also the father too. Hey, don't wear this, don't wear that, don't work like this, cross your legs. That discipline is put on there. So why I wanted this to be a good clip to talk about is because I even had to go through a gentleman's course when I was young, right? And that helped me out. Oh yeah,
come on, etiquette. I like that.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm here in Central Florida. If there's any type of ladies course or etiquette course that they're out there teaching, please let me know, because I would put my daughters in it. It's something that everybody needs, or a man, a gentleman, or a lady, and a lady should be doing.
Yes, it was
right.
A lady,
That's why I consider myself a gentleman till this day. I love, being able to show respect and courtesy to a lady, open the door, all that type of stuff. But it's one of the reasons why I like dressing up appropriately when I go to meetings or suits, because that's how I was taught, and I always wanted to see myself, my future self, dress nice for the occasion, right? And be a gentleman. It's something that is taught. It's not something that happens naturally. That's why there's people who are in different, you would call them an elite, they're taught differently. They're put in these type of classes at a young age. They know where the fork is supposed to be positioned and what fork you're supposed to use at these type of meals. It helps. What it does is it allows gentlemen to be able to observe and find and see and catch the ladies that are out there just by how they conduct themselves. She isn't bending over. Bro. She isn't bending over showing what she got when she's out there picking up a pen. She's doing it like how she was taught to be a lady, so that when a man approaches her, he knows how to address her accordingly, right? So it's taught. It's taught. And I want to give a shout out to this lady. And if America, if you know anyone in Central Florida who has these type of courses, whether it's a gentleman course or the ladies course, please let us know and give them our information, give us their information. I would love to get in contact with them and would love to have a conversation about them. With them on here, America. So, I'm very, very passionate about this. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think people, when it comes to gentlemen, because the term was a lady. Oh, she's a lady. You know what I'm saying? That was a type that described, the way that a woman carried herself as a lady. It just wasn't just gender based or whatever. And for men, it was a gentleman. He's not just a man, he's a gentleman. And that was based off of how you carried yourself and how you conducted yourself in public. And you could clearly see there's a difference. And that's why it goes back to what we were saying, how you pick them. It goes back to what you see and what you observe, the way she carries herself. That's going to let you know if she deserves your time or not, and vice versa for a woman, based off of his introduction, the way he carries himself, the way he's dressed, even what he's wearing. He could have on nice, neat looking clothes. Yeah, are they street clothes? Like in your case, you know what I'm saying? Are they, you know what I'm saying? Is it a polo? Is it a t-shirt? No matter what, that speaks to, and he could just be dressing down for that moment. But then how is it laid out? You know what I'm saying? All those things could be observed, and then you don't have to waste your time. But that's why I was saying last week on the show too. It depends on what you're looking for at that moment. You could be looking for something easy, and then you can tell. You can tell if it's easy. Bro, we know. I think a lot of times, what was supposed to be, these guys get caught up in what was supposed to be just something for fun or one night. You kept it around and you tried to give it more time and resources than it was supposed to be given, and then you get what you get. But dude, yeah, I like that. I would love to have, if we could find who this person is, man, we could probably reach out to her and just see, because that's interesting, man. I know they have wives schools. That's a thing. Wives school.
Yeah, but by that time it's too late. In other words, depending on the age, right? You know, if you're gonna be,
well, you put them in wives school
in your 30s, going to wives school, right? That's what that is, though.
You do that.
That's what
young.
it is.
See,
that's what it is. That's what a ladies' school is.
Yeah, I think you prep for that. I think you prep for being a wife before. You know, you're a wife before you get married based off of your temperament, your countenance, how you handle yourself. Even just being friendly. I think people just aren't friendly, bro. People just aren't even friendly, man. I see them when I be out. I hold the doors for the gym. I be on the bike trail. I say good morning when I pass down. I be like, dang, you can't just even be friendly? What's up with that, man? I was going to make a post about that when I was on the bike trail last weekend. I said, bro, what happened to just being friendly, bro? We can't be friendly no more? Nobody want that from me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why people have that attitude, and it's not. I never look at it, as a personal thing. I always look at it like, you know, they might be going through something in life that has them feeling this way or reacting that way. You know,
I don't care, Paul. You can be friendly.
Yeah, you can. You can. What you know?
You can. Be
you can. Bro. Hey, if you want the best results in life, it would behoove you to be friendly, right? It would behoove you to be. It would definitely. Yes.
Bro, you never know who you're talking to, bro. You never know who you're talking to, and that's something that a huge lesson that I've learned throughout my life, and I apply, bro. I'm not always having good days, bro. I'm not always doing the best. People assume I am. They always assume it, and I'm like, nah. It's just you never know who you run across, man. Oksana said, oh, well, I'm going to smile either way. Yeah, facts, man. Thank y'all so much for watching this episode, man. It's 29. Next week is episode 30.
Woo!
Next week is episode 30, bro.
Big 30. I'm loving it, Daniel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And look, not only being friendly, give yourself the opportunity to boost your business. If you need us to sponsor, get in touch with Daniel. If you need any type of help with social media, anything dealing with videos or advertising your business, give us a shout out here at Beyond the Hustle. We would definitely like to help, whether it's helping you find your investments, helping you with your tax goals, or helping promote your business. We are definitely here. So America, you know how to reach us, and looking forward to seeing you again and having this conversation again on our 30th episode. Daniel, good Lord. You got to give yourself a pat on the back for that, bro. I got to give it for real.
Look, man, make sure y'all check us out on all social media platforms, man, Behind the Hustle Pod. And make sure you follow us, because we are on Spotify, so you can get this playback and all other episode playbacks on Spotify. Make sure you add us to your playlist, man, and check out the podcast there. We will be right back here next week. Same time, same place. We will see y'all next week. Deuces.